who's as adamant about his or her position as I am about mine, whom you think is sharp. Seriously, we know that. And another thing, we heard him say that... Hey, El Dorados, Larry Elder here, and welcome to episode number 26 of And Another Thing. Larry's a little froggy today. He's got kind of a cold, but he's going to soldier on through. If people can storm the beaches of D-Day, Larry can get through a little raspy throat. Okay. I want to talk to you real quickly though about Benghazi. My episode last week was about the IRS scandal, now the Benghazi scandal, and I think the word scandal is appropriate. As you know, what happened on September 11 last year, I've heard it described as a compound, I've heard it described as an embassy, I've heard it described as an outpost, but our facility in Benghazi, Libya, was stormed. 4 Americans died, including Craig Stevens, the ambassador to Libya, and he was the first U.S. ambassador to be killed in 30 years. 3 other Americans also died. It turns out that lots of requests have been made for more security. It turns out that the British, because of their concerns about security, had pulled out of Benghazi. It turns out that on the day of the attack, at 2 o'clock in the morning, according to one of the so-called whistleblowers, he got a phone call from Hillary Rodham Clinton hours after the attack, and she's asking what's going on, and he said, "We are under attack." And as you well know, Susan Rice, the United Nations ambassador, why she was sent is beyond me, because she's nothing to do with the State Department, nothing to do with the intelligence community. But she went to all these talk shows and said that what happened in Benghazi was a spontaneous demonstration, eruption, ignited by a trailer of a YouTube video called Innocence of Muslims. It was a trailer that people in Egypt had seen, and they got all ticked off. And so for some reason, that was a reason that was given for what happened in Benghazi. It turns out now that was completely untrue. The question is, why were we told that story? Who was it who changed the narrative from "we're under attack" to, by the way, a bunch of people got ticked off because some guy... Now, El Dorados, on to the AP scandal. What is the AP scandal? Here's the genesis. During the election, all of a sudden, these newspapers published these wonderful glowing stories about how commanding our commander-in-chief has been in fighting the war on terror. For example, we learned that's not what you expected when you voted for him. Hope and change and transparency, and going to be very different from George W. Bush. More drones than under George W. Bush. I just now mentioned more indictments of whistleblowers than any administration combined. He's using much of the same enhanced interrogation techniques that George W. Bush used. We still have the FISA courts. We still have the Patriot Act. We still have the terror and surveillance program. Lots of things that Obama condemned. Gitmo is still open. All these things are where ideology and idealism smack into the real world. Welcome to the real world, President. Welcome to the real world, Democrats. And maybe just now, maybe you look at yourself in the mirror and say how ashamed you are about saying Bush lied, people died. What you do is act upon imperfect information. President, I hope you enjoyed this small excerpt. If you want to see the full video, got to be in El Dorado. Go to my website, larryelder.com, log in, fill out the form. It'll cost you about $4.75 a month, or about the price of a mocha frappuccino latte at your favorite coffee house. As you can tell, I don't like coffee. I'm a tea drinker. See you next time.